You know, it's not easy for me to talk about other long forgotten history horror games out there. And I'm pretty much gonna be one of those guys that haven't talked about a game that's redone like many centuries ago. And I'm gonna talk about a game that's already 10 years old. I don't know what I'm doing in my life on why I'm gonna review another game that's not worthy to be remastered for the PS4 or Xbox One. What I'm talking about is another game that should not exist. It look halfway done. It looks unfinished. It's supposed to be a scary game, but it's kind of like if you want to play a great Resident Evil game in parody, or like that other Silent Hill game in parody, it's gonna be rather good, or it's gonna be next to the pile of crappy games out there. This is gonna be one of those other games that becomes one of the worst or awfulest games out there. Is this one good? Is it really bad? Is it gonna be a great game? Well, no. What I'm talking about is Amy for the ps3. And I looked online. Turns out you have to download the game. Since it's not like one of those other games that you can just obviously buy for like less than $1.99 on eBay. I know what you're thinking. What the hell is Amy? Well, I'll let the entire intro speak for itself.
Got a snowball's chance in hell of getting a call through, ma'am.
Excuse me?
Tickets, please.
Oh, yes. Here you are, sir.
Basically, the game is about
The planet was supposed
the
to be
young
heating
girl
up.
named Amy
I think we have a
that
few
doesn't
centuries
talk,
before we'll need to be wearing shorts in December.
and you play our main
How are you,
antagonist,
little princess? Have you been good? Because the big red
protecting
sled
her.
driver's coming tonight.
Not to mention their eyes
Santa
are
Claus.
a bit
Whispering.
weird
Father
looking.
Christmas.
She's verbally challenged. She can't speak, but she's really looking forward to Christmas.
No day off at that age. We'll be at Silver City Station in 5 minutes. You have a good day now.
The graphics on
We
these
will.
characters look like
Thank
from
you.
an old PS2 game or a Wii
And Merry
game.
Christmas. Amy, don't be afraid. He was just checking on us to see if we're okay. And he was right. It's Christmas Eve. I have a present for you.
This is kind of like a survival horror
It's the
game.
latest thing. It should be even better than the pencils and crayons you had in the
Not to
Phoenix
mention she
Center.
got psychic powers.
Oh, Amy, it's nothing.
It doesn't explain much,
You're never
but
going back to the center.
it's
I promise.
something.
I'm taking you somewhere safe.
Voice acting is not that bad. I would say it's not
Lana, I've been worried. Did you get
awful,
up?
per
Yes,
se.
both of us. We're in the train. We'll be there soon.
These characters' designs
How is she? She's...
are fine, I
I'm not
guess.
sure. Same symptoms, fatigue, insomnia, but she's distant. It's getting worse.
Lana, I'm calling you from the best hospital within 1,000 kilometers. We've got everything we need to run a complete checkup. We'll figure it out.
There'll be more characters you'll encounter on the way in the game, too.
Listen, she's with me now. We're not confronting anyone. He won't touch her again. I'm coming to you to help her get better. Are we clear on that?
Of course, Lana. I'm with you. When you get to the hospital, go through the parking garage. The badges I gave you will work anywhere, but I don't want to take any chances with your coming through the front lobby. The professor has eyes that see far beyond the center. Do you have the security badges? Lana?
And it looks like she can tell the future. I'm looking
Yes,
at it.
I'm here, but... What? What is it, Amy?
On what's going to happen already.
What was that?
Did you see it?
I saw an explosion from my window.
something on fire just fly over
All the
us.
trees in the backgrounds look like they're repeatedly done
I
with.
think Amy...
They end up in a train crashing. And the driver's already a zombie. That's Stardust.
End of line, Silver City Station. Please do not forget any personal belongings on the train. Do not agree to carry luggage for us.
Not to mention, this game gets a little bit confusing on what you're supposed to do next. Use the left stick to move Luna.
Amy, where is she? I need to find her. Amy! Amy, where are you?
Speaking of Amy, she'll be useful to help out Luna in most dangerous
Oh my god.
places.
What's going on?
As you can tell, this looks like another Resident Evil 04 game clone, the way she moves. I would not say this game is all that scary unless they play like a round jump scare. Sure, it took the programmers and everybody that did this game a long time ago, but most of them look like they're already halfway done. Sure, you'll get chased by these horrifying corpses. Sure, you can only use like the weapons you got, but most of the time you have to hide from them or solve puzzles and all other things. There are other games I played that are like the worst at this kind, but trust me, I've played like other terrible games. You might say this one is. Even though, move very slowly. We gotta run fast as possible. But slight problem is, it looks like she's trying her best to run, but look like she runs very slowly as possible.
Amy! Amy, it's me,
I mean,
Lana.
I've seen better games that make you run faster.
Hey there, Missy. You sure look healthy, except maybe for the cuts and bruises.
Also, this
I'm
guy
okay. I'm not
is
gonna
kind of like
hurt you.
Italian
I need to find a little
mafia.
girl. Have you seen anyone?
You're the first normal person I've seen in hours. Where did you lose her?
She was on the train with me.
That train that came crashing in here full of monsters? You look like you hit your head there, miss. You sure you was traveling with a little girl?
I need to find her. Her name is Amy. Help me. Or hide.
Yep, this is
I'm
like
gonna find her.
My
Silent
name's
Hill.
Marcello. I can help you.
Looking for a little
I was
girl.
just heading to the station monitoring office.
Except it
The
doesn't
cell
take
network's down.
hours to
But
find
I'm sure they
her.
got some fixed lines over there we can use to call somebody. I got a pal, or I hope I still got a pal, that works there. Maybe your little girl went that way.
Just help me look for Amy.
Amy, this nice lady here really
Also, what's up with that guy's face?
So we can all go on and get away from all these other monsters. It's the only way out of here. We need to find a way to cut the power. Follow me. I've got an idea.
It doesn't explain what happened to this guy, but it looks like he probably got attacked by those monsters. I will not spoil too much, but I would say
Come out wherever you are.
AI seen better or gameplays compared to other ones I've ever done before. I had YouTube channel is Silent Hill 2.
Damn.
Ooh,
Another genetic lock.
ooh,
Here,
free
take this.
4.
It's a DNA cracker. Start by scanning
Those
the
games
box
are
with it.
pretty interestingly fun.
Okay, now look at the dots on the radar that light up.
Yep, every time you do those, you'll get a checkpoint.
Let's go. I'll follow you.
If you
Just go
like
to
die,
one of the
you'll
dots.
have to restart on what you're or
what's
at
that? It's a DNA
at some
sample.
point, and then time.
I wasn't always a cab driver. I mean, I always been a driver, but let's just say that, well, I used to work with some people with connections. Anyway, this thing, we can get you through all these fancy new DNA locks. He just needs to find a sample of DNA of the person it's authorized to let in.
I love how this guy talks almost non-stop, so I can make this game less boring, which it is. It's dull, lifeless. This is the only time you'll only have like a few other characters besides Lena, Amy. Zombies being almost less threatening. And like a final boss that pops out of nowhere. Or you have to make sure you inject a bit of serum into our main character Luna, or she'll become infected by those other monsters before it's too late. You might prove me wrong, but I reassured you, you want to make sure you do your best at surviving this game. And doing all these sorts of puzzles, making it a little bit, the word for it, a bit of a hijinks in consuming all the monsters swarming around like parasites. I almost find this game almost less fun than the other ones, because there's not much else to say on how bloody, dull, and such a bore throughout this tiny little game. Sure does have music,
Fantastic. The juice is
but
down.
it seems a
Now we'll
little
be able to
too
get through the
quiet.
grill.
It doesn't explain where you're at, why you're at the suburbs, why there's like a main leader that wants to exterminate our heroes. Those, not much else explains. This game seems a little bit too, the word for it, similar to knock out enemies. This game is not too scary at all. If you die, you get like the lamest game over scream ever, saying the word you died it. Of ending blood scream. I would find that pretty pathetic and lame. Sure, you have to move like other things around. Like those, so you can get past. That's in through the doorway.
Amy! Amy, come here.
I'll be damned. There really was a little girl.
Seriously,
You
what's up
must
with
be
his
Amy.
face?
It's okay, Amy.
Kind of looks like a mix too. Oh, that big guy from the Goonies. Oh, the chubby cheeks of Jabba the Hutt.
Hello there, Amy. My name's Marcello, but my friends just call me Cello. And you can call me Cello because you's a friend. Being a nice lady.
For trouble? Spoiler alert, he does die and get shot.
How'd you manage to hide from all these
from the
monsters.
squads. And thinks he's
She can't
bit
speak.
the
She's not
monster.
well. You need to get to the hospital.
Can't say I blame them.
Hey, we always gonna need someone small enough to pass through the hole and open it up from the inside.
He's almost like the Jar Jar Binks of the group, and very obnoxious. I mean, if you want to play an interesting
Push the
game,
button, Amy.
and stick with playing in Silent
You
Hill
did
or
it.
the Resident Evil
Bravo,
games.
Amy.
At least she does help you. She does use her telekinetic powers to knock down the guards down, and other things you should do in this game. Fortunately, this one's kind of like most other gameplays, like 2 or 3 hours. Like Angry Joe says, 3 hours. But doesn't prove a point on how much of a bore this game really is, because there's not much else to say about it. This is all you do for
This is a game for you, Amy. Can you help us out?
maybe 4 hours of this entirety of the game.
No, this little scratch.
She's
don't
pretty
let it
smart enough
scare
to
you.
hack
I got it from
everything.
my last client. Can you believe that? A regular. I asked Mrs. Jenkins for my fare, and she up and sinks her teeth into me. 20 years I've been driving, and nobody ever bit me. Not even when I was driving the docks in Jersey.
Right.
No sooner do I get away from Mrs. Jenkins when your train comes crashing into the station.
So proud of you, Amy.
Talk about
You
a bad day. Just as the dust was settling and the first rescue workers were blocking off the crash, them monsters this way. We're almost there.
Also, he is useless. This one he's not having a weapon to help you or anything. I almost forgot to mention that to avoid deadly traps around the building. And I almost forgot to mention another thing.
Fudge. The way
Wait
to
for me with
secure
my cello,
he's
Amy.
cut off.
I won't
Need
be
to go
long.
around.
Once you get to an animated, well, not wellly animated cutscene, it just shows them still images, which makes it slightly cheaper and lamer looking. It doesn't help on how much bloody and worse this game existing for most players that have played this game before or not. You do have to keep sneaking around just like any type of, well, most horror games out there. You have to be careful not to get spotted or your hide has been bitten by these monstrosities. These will knock you dead at your steps. And be
You're
lucky not to
such a
find
great girl. We're getting
some
out of here.
buttons right where you're at. So try your best not to
These
suck
army
at it.
soldiers started showing up. Phoenix men, I think.
Or do like I
They
usually
started
do,
mowing these
just
monsters down. Just my luck. I get knocked on the head running for a newsstand. I wakes up.
look up the
buried in
gameplay
magazines and newspapers.
and what to do
And
next.
everybody been evacuated. Everybody but me, that is. And well, the monsters. These soldiers locked all the freaking doors when they left, and you can't get out. I tried all of them. Then I heard you calling out for the little girl. I said to myself, no monster be calling out for a little girl.
Yeah, stop talking, please.
Push the button, Amy.
She's a pretty smart girl, I'll give her that. So, is this game the worst? Yes and no. Well, it is a terrible game. It is the worst? Yeah. Again. they did give this game like a solid 1 or 2 out of 10. But for me, I find this game to be like almost a below average survival game. So you might think this game is the worst. Then you are right. But you know what game is the worst? Bubsy 3D, the PlayStation 1. That's enough said.
Dear God, what's happened here? Amy, stick close to me.
Also, there's not much else I would say on how much I don't like most maze levels. When you get lost and you have to not know where you're supposed to go and get chased by a monster. If you end up in the wrong way, you're pretty much dead at your very steps. In other words, you're basically screwed at this point. And to outrun them, or try to hide from them. Somehow this guy already knows everything they do before they actually turn straight to the direction they're going to.
Here we are. No door is smart enough to beat Cello and his magic key. After use, ladies.
Shut it. And he's still useless. Does it mean that she almost remind me of Warcraft if she changed her hairdo up a notch? Or Harry's fiance from Silent Hill 2?
I'm so proud of you, Amy. You did it.
It doesn't explain why she doesn't talk, but you can just hear her breathing, making noise. I don't get it either. She doesn't even talk at the very end of the game. And ends it in a cliffhanger, thinking it's gonna have a sequel, which never does happen. And I don't got much else to say either, because everything in this entire hallway look very identical to each other.
You two stand back now. I'll take care of this. We're not sick. They's gonna see that.
Marcello, we don't know who they are yet.
Here comes the
Hush now. It'll be
cutscene
okay.
we're about to
You two
get
hide just in
finally.
case it goes wrong.
You'll see what I mean once you
Hello
watch it.
there. I'm alive. I'm not sick. Just a little beat up. I'm not infected.
Yeah, but they're still gonna shoot his ass.
My name's Marcello, but my friends call me Cello. You know, like those great big violins.
Silence, please. We need to run an identity check. Caucasian, 110, 130 kilos, mid-40s. Survivor. No signs of transformation. Awaiting orders.
You already have your orders, damn it. Find recovery extract.
Roger. Targeting.
Oh, shit.
And they killed him anyways. And they didn't even bother to animate this. It just was like from an old comic book.
In pairs.
Look what these scenes to scenes.
Large perimeter once we get to the gallery.
Sure you can hear it not making noise.
Amy!
They didn't even bother to animate it.
Thank you, Marcello. I'm so sorry.
Well, he's dead. This is pretty much all you do throughout all 3 hours or so of your life. Oh yeah, not to mention you have to use that device that does scanning. And I don't get why she got that thing on her backside that glows. I guess it's almost an attack. Like when there's gonna be danger nearby, when it turns red, she's in trouble. It's blue, it's calm, I guess. You might think this game is dreadfully awful. There's like a bunch of deadly traps, like that thing she just avoided. It just gets very confusing on what you're supposed to do next. Without looking at the gameplay,
Amy.
you have to stay hidden from the squadron or you'll be dead too.
Listen. Everything's gonna be okay. I promise.
Or you'll get attacked by the monsters, like that one. That big, huge, ugly SOB. Or the squadron. You can hit in the room quickly before they show up and you'll see the view of the creature. Just wait until it leaves or them. I'll make the game a little bit less stressful.
There. Dry your tears. Everything's going to be all right. Heat up plates. Let's get to the security room.
All I can say is,
just to
do not,
make sure
I repeat, do not buy this game. It will be almost a waste of your time. And energy. Just like I had to do throughout this entire long review of this game I'm just talking about. Because this game is so bad, they had to make their reviews shorter. Unlike theirs, I had to make mine a bit longer to explain how unbalanced and how unfinished this rest of this game is. I mean, the last game I ever played it was Duke Nukem Forever, and the game just looks almost halfway unfinished. It should just look like from an old Wii game. Thing that you would play.
Do you want to draw this? Did the professor teach you something about these? They don't look... Wait! We use simpler versions at the center to indicate the psionic words.
I wouldn't say this game gets a 0 out of 10, but deserves a rogue rating of 2 out of 10. And it just ain't gonna be much of a good remembering game at all. Oh, it just not be that great next to the other franchise of good Silent Hill games, good Resident Evil games, or the other one called Fear games. So do yourself a favor and save your money to play the other good horror games. Besides what I just said, Silent Hill games, Resident Evil games, and some other interesting, long-forgotten horror games out there. This one deserves to be left behind on the other long-forgotten games out there. Besides playing the good old Silent Hill games that counts as horror games at most parts. So this game really needs to be a little bit and more better graphics. And then so much more to it.
Bravo.
Well, I hate to admit it, and good thing about this game is the voice acting is alright, I guess. It's kind of a shame that most of these levels look almost identical to each other. And how bloody boring it is. Once in a while, show some monsters. Most of them will look exactly the same. It's just a hard Earth survival game that you can either love or hate about it. This one deserves to be one of the other ones left behind in the shadows, along with the other ones. Sure, I might get dislikes or like about what I'm reviewing about this game, but this is pretty much how most other long forgotten and horror games that appeared once and never again to be one of the worst ones out there. So that's enough said and done. I'll see you guys when I talk about another forgotten game that was made once and never got any
Connect
more
yourself to the
sequels
terminal.
or
We need to find a way to open it up.
remaster their system for the PS4 or Xbox One. Thank you for listening to this long 30-minute review of me talk about this whole game playing. Sure, the music's scary too, but doesn't save on how much this game would eventually suck. Nope. I'm giving this game a 2.3 out of 10. Because it deserves it. Alright.